All right, if you're an iOS developer, you've definitely been there, staring at loadView and viewDidLoad and just wondering, what is the actual difference? They sound so similar, but getting them wrong can lead to some pretty serious headaches. So in this explainer, we're going to finally separate the builder from the decorator in the iOS view lifecycle.
To really get a handle on these two methods, we have to ask a really basic question. What comes first? Do you create the view itself, or do you start setting it up? The answer, well, it's the key to this whole thing. Let's think of it as the life story of a view, from the moment it's born to the moment it's ready for its big debut. And that life story, it kicks off right here in part 1 with loadView. I want you to think of this method as building the house from the ground up. This is the pure construction phase, plain and simple.
So what's its official job description? Well, loadView is the method responsible for creating the view controller's main view and its entire hierarchy. This is literally where the self.view property is born. Before loadView runs, self.view is just nil. It doesn't even exist yet.
Now, here's the thing. You don't usually call this method yourself. The system is smart. It calls it for you automatically the very first time anything tries to access the view property. It all happens behind the scenes long before anything ever appears on the screen. It's that foundational, invisible first step.
Okay, so if the system handles it, why should you even care, right? When would you actually need to jump in and override loadView? Well, the answer is very specific, and it's a key distinction for any developer who builds their UIs in code. You only override loadView when you're building your entire user interface programmatically. That's it. If you're using storyboards or XIB files, UKit's default version of loadView does all the heavy lifting for you. It finds your files and loads a view. But if you're a code-only developer, this method is your ground zero.
And when you do override it, your job is actually surprisingly simple and focused. You've really just got 3 essential tasks. First, create your root view instance. Second, you can set its most basic properties, maybe a background color. And third, and this is the most important part, you must assign that new view to self.view. And that's it. You're not decorating, you're just building the empty house.
And this brings us to a critical crash-saving rule. If you override loadView, you are taking full responsibility for creating the view. That means you absolutely must assign a view to self.view. And because you're completely replacing the default behavior, you must not, I repeat, must not call super.loadView. If you do, you'll just be interfering with the very process you're trying to control.
So, our house is built. It's got walls and a roof, but it's completely empty inside. Now it's time for part 2, viewLoaded. This is where we get to furnish the rooms and make the house a home. I mean, the name says it all, right? viewLoaded is called after the view has been successfully created by loadView and loaded into memory. The house now officially exists, we've been given the keys, and we can go inside and get everything set up.
And here's why viewLoaded is the absolute workhorse for most developers. It is called exactly once during the entire life of the view controller. That reliability makes it the perfect, safe place to do all of your one-time setup. You know the view exists, and you know this code is only going to run one time.
And what kind of setup are we talking about?
Oh, you know, pretty much everything that makes your screen functional. This is where you'll configure your UI elements, add your subviews, set up delegates and data sources, maybe fetch your initial data from a network. The crucial point is the view is ready, and now you're making it useful.
So we've met our 2 key players. We've got loadView, the builder, and viewLoaded, the decorator. Now, let's put them side by side to make the distinction crystal clear.
Before we dive into the details, let's just boil it all down to 2 words. LoadView is for creation, viewLoaded is for configuration. Seriously, if you remember nothing else from this, remember that distinction.
This table breaks it all down beautifully. Let's start with purpose. LoadView is purely for creating the view hierarchy. viewLoaded is for configuring that view. That timing difference is key. LoadView gets called before the view is loaded, viewLoaded is called right after. And this dictates their usage. You only touch loadView for programmatic UI, but you use viewLoaded for almost all other setup. And finally, frequency. They both run just once, but at very distinct and critical moments in the view's life.
We've covered a lot of ground here, from building the house to decorating it. So let's just wrap this all up with the one simple rule you really need to walk away with.
Here it is, the core principle that cuts through all the confusion. Use loadView to create the view, use viewLoaded view to configure the view. It really is that simple. One is for making, the other is for setting up.
So what does this mean for your day-to-day coding? Well, for the vast majority of tasks, and for almost all developers who use storyboards or XIBs, you are going to live inside viewLoaded. Just think of loadView as a specialized tool that you only pull out for the specific job of building a UI from scratch, totally in code.
And there you have it, the life story of a view's creation and its initial setup completely demystified. You now know the difference between building the foundation and decorating the rooms. So the only question left is, now that you've mastered the view's birth, what part of its life are you going to explore next?